Welcome to this astrology natal chart synthesis. Date of birth given as 13th May 1990, 6:25 p.m. Mission Hills, California, United States. And these details put the ascendant at the 7th degree of Scorpio. So this is a Scorpio rising. And so the analysis the synthesis will start with an examination of what it means to be a Scorpio rising, or to have Scorpio rising at the exact point in time of your birth. Now, Scorpio is an extremely powerful sign, and it is difficult to really understand what the sign of Scorpio means without understanding the astrological evolutionary process itself. Now, the birth of awareness is the same thing as the birth of a child, because when a child is born, it comes into the world of awareness where it takes in a gulp of oxygen. That oxygen inflates its lungs, or it takes in a gulp of air that contains oxygen. That air inflates its lungs, but oxygen is a corrosive gas. So it burns an imprint in the lungs, a painful imprint. That feeling of pain, sharp pain, it lasts for less than a second anyway. It burns a signature into the child's brain because it's the first time the child has actually experienced that. All other sensorial impressions that the child's brain has received has been in the form of that watery environment. So they're not really as strong as that first impression in awareness. That is the birth of self-awareness. Okay. Now, the nature of the self at that instant that child, that imprint is made in the brain, that point is what we call the rising sign, the ascendant. So it represents the first impression that self has of itself once it comes into our experiential world of three-dimensional density. So as at the moment when this chart owner was born, Scorpio was rising on the eastern horizon. And so this child came into the world with a sense of trepidation, fear, because it may be that there may have been complications during the birth. It may be that the birth was difficult, the labor was difficult, but as with all Scorpio risings, there's always some type of deep emotional drama surrounding their entry into the world. Now, the reason for this is very simple. The life task of the Scorpio rising is to confront the darkness, what they perceive as the darkness within themselves, because that darkness is what is responsible for their fear. And then to convert that fear and that fear of darkness into the strength of willpower means overcoming that fear. And primarily, what the Scorpio rising is afraid of is death. That's really what it is. So the life of a Scorpio rising is about overcoming that fear and then rising above it, becoming the eagle that soars, or the phoenix that rises from the ashes. And that means confronting various dark aspects of the self. Now, those areas are considered dark not because they're color black or whatever. It's simply because they are considered unknown. You see? And so the process of what most astrologers will call a transformational journey for the Scorpio is the process of coming to terms with the unknown aspects of themselves, reintegrating those back into the self as an acceptable part of themselves, and then overcoming all of this and then blossoming and flowering. That is the final stage where the Scorpio has now overcome these limitations within themselves and is now confident. They have integrated all of these parts into themselves. They have recognized themselves as one whole, and then there's a joy and love of self-acceptance. Okay, now that is where the Scorpio flowers, because now they are no longer destructive or self-sabotaging. They are now ready to offer their gifts and share that with the rest of the world.